According to the Alien Wiki, Skinny Bob is an alleged videotape containing footage of a gray-like alien. The first video appeared on the internet in early May 2011. The video became very popular in the UFO and alien research community, although it was speculated that the footage was a promotion for an upcoming film or TV series at the time. The video has also been presented as alleged leaked footage from the KGB, although this remains unconfirmed. While most skeptics claim that the footage is a hoax, most true believers argue that it would cost a fortune to fake the video. Since 2011, no individuals have claimed credit for creating the video. But that's as far as the wiki goes, and it goes so much deeper than that. Since 2011, thousands of online truth seekers have dedicated time, money, and probably even some marriages in the attempt to debunk and expose this footage as a hoax. But as of this recording, they still haven't. The footage shows an alleged interview from the KGB files featuring an honest-to-God little gray alien. This information comes from SkinnyBob.info. If you want to see every deep dive compiled by the finest, brave, sweaty researchers Reddit has to offer, please go check out the site for yourself and give them some credit for all of the work they've done on this case. SkinnyBob, a forensic analysis. Forward. We present a detailed analysis of allegedly leaked UFO and alien footage. This time, it's not about lights in the sky or anecdotal reports, but unambiguous imagery. Authentic evidence of extraterrestrial visitation would be kept among the most sensitive and closely guarded secrets kept by intelligence agencies around the world. Without an official disclosure process, the only way for the general public to tap into such knowledge is through whistleblowers and occasional leaks. We might be dealing with such a leak here. If your initial reaction is dominated by disbelief and ridicule, your brain is wired properly to live a healthy life in a complex world, but perhaps not to unveil something truly exceptional, far out and in the fringe. In hope and prospect of doing so, we dare to peek into this rabbit hole with an open mind and an expectation to witness initial absurdity becoming harsh reality. Be careful with quick and overly confident assessments based on cursory inspection of the material and preconceived notions about the topic. Both credulity and premature rejection could be misleading. Promoting the possibility of Skinny Bob being authentic is a bet against all odds and bears the danger of getting carried away by fantasy. But since unlikely things happen every once in a while, what if the truth is actually right in front of you? Status. The answer to the big question, if we are investigating something authentic or an elaborate hoax, is still unknown. Although the material has undergone extensive vetting by laymen and experts around the world, it remains an inconclusive mystery for quite a while now. At the time of this recording, it has been 15 years, 133 days, 0 hours, and 26 minutes. Disclaimer. The claims and statements made on this website do not necessarily reflect the opinion of other individuals or groups participating in this investigation. Specifically, the extensively sourced Reddit r/SkinnyBob. The editor attempts on a best effort basis to curate what he believes to be the consensus among an abstract and investigative body formed by contributing volunteers on various platforms. Keep in mind that this is an ongoing process. As new discoveries are made and discussions evolve, previous assumptions can be invalid. Ivan. The videos were uploaded to a YouTube channel named Ivan0135 in 2011. The channel was created the same day the first video was uploaded, on the 13th of April. According to the channel description, the creator is from Russia and was born in 1969. We can't verify if the channel creator and/or uploader is in fact a single individual and really named Ivan. For the sake of simplicity, however, we can continue to refer to the uploader as Ivan and address him as a single individual throughout this website. According to the information provided, the uploaded clips are small samples selectively taken from a larger collection of video material. The original footage is apparently spread across several physical tapes. Ivan provides a detailed list of tape numbers and timestamps for all the clips presented, even embeds an animated timestamp into the first two videos to indicate where in the original footage the sequence was taken from. Original videos. We recommend watching the original videos uploaded by Ivan before diving into the analysis. The first video published on April 14, 2011. Disclosure: leaked UFO alien case video confidential documents old footage. The video track starts with a still frame of a KGB logo and censored text above and below. The first moving picture scene shows a house and a mysterious object behind it in the air. Switching to an aerial view, a saucer-shaped UFO is filmed, first from a distance and then zoomed in. Next, we see a badly lit humanoid creature standing and looking towards the camera. The next scene shows what appears to be a crashed UFO with an alien lying on the ground nearby. Lastly, we see an autopsy being performed on an alien body with a close-up of the alien face and the hands of the physician being at work. The audio track is a continuous rattling sound typically generated by old film projectors. It changes slightly with each scene switch. Second video, published on May 2nd, 2011. Alien Gray, Extraterrestrial, Zeta Reticuli, u.f.o leaked footage. The video track starts with several paragraphs of text, providing background information about the material. Behind these texts are two still frames from the alien shown in the next scenes. First, there is a side view of an alien moving his head and arms. Then, a whole body scan from bottom to top. It shows it standing in an idle posture with slight movements. The last scene was a mysterious circle in what appears to be a shadow of something. The audio track is again a continuous rattling sound typically generated by old film projectors, changing somewhat as the scenes switch. Third video, published on May 9th, 2011. Ivan 0135 about alien and UFO documents. The video track shows text messages from Ivan and address negative reactions he has received about the previous two videos. In the background is a handprint from a hand with 4 fingers. In the end, a final sentence fades in and out. The audio track is mute. Fourth video, published on May 18th. Extraterrestrial, Zeta Reticuli, Tape 6, Family Vacation. The video track starts with text paragraphs about historic events with extraterrestrial visitors and ends with a shaky recording of aliens walking. In contrast to all other videos, this one is a color film. The audio track is mute. Reddit user DedBird compared the upload dates of the videos to important events in the history of the Soviet Union and speculated that with the name Ivan and the KGB logo, the publishing dates could have been chosen intentionally to further imply a Russian origin. Visual effects. The very first video Ivan uploaded starts with an image showing the insignia of the KGB, the main security agency of the Soviet Union. Above and below are black bars seemingly censoring something. It turns out this still image was taken from the documentary The KGB U.f.o Files, released in 1998. It featured a crashed UFO and an autopsy of an alien body. This Komsomolskaya Pravda article, and especially this page thanks to user Jazz Like Squirrel, debunks the documentary sufficiently, making it a commercial hoax. The original image looks like this. The translation is Top Secret KGB Archive. Ivan tampered with the original footage by applying various effects such as a damaged film overlay like this. As an excellent investigatory achievement, user Brooklyn Robot managed to track down the exact film damage overlay Ivan used. It is available as a stock video clip on the internet. Jazz Like Squirrel found the software that was likely used to apply not only the film damage, but other post-processing effects as well. Sapphire plugins for After Effects by Boris FX. Additionally, Brooklyn Robot visualized an effect stack and commented on possible causes for the various image degradation steps. By now, there is generally a consensus that all the effects have been applied digitally to presumably clean underlying footage. The timecode has also been embedded digitally. Brooklyn Robot discovered that the Microsoft font Consolus, released in 2006, was used with additional distortion effects. In response to claims that timecodes did not exist for 8mm film, and the videos are thereby debunked, Red Dwarf V pointed out that there are multiple occasions where the timecode does not follow a temporarily shifting frame, thus proving that it was not originally embedded and added later. The black rectangle in front of the case number is probably supposed to be a mysterious redacted part that hides something sensitive. This is ridiculous because the timecode was likely added by Ivan in the first place. This leads us to an important question. What could be the motivation for these edits? Perhaps one or a combination of the following reasons. Spicing up bland footage. Imagine getting a hold of highly sensitive, leaked UFO and alien footage from the 1940s, and it does not even look remotely close like you or the general public expected it to look like. Meticulously assembled clips of clean recordings for scientific documentation and archival purposes. Ivan might have thought that, at least for the initial release, it has to conform to a certain visual expectation to gain traction. Incompetence and naivety. Never underestimate human decision-making and the possibility of bizarre reasoning like, I thought it looks cooler that way. Planned degradation. The effects could have been an integral part of a hoaxing project to hide imperfections and limit production cost. Blackmail. The leaker might have wanted to show just enough to make the original owner aware of the extent of the leak, with the implicit threat of an uncontrolled release. Responsibility. Ivan might have tampered with the footage to initially keep it in a gray zone and gauge the reaction of the general public to determine how to move forward. Damage control. If the material was stolen from the Pentagon or defense contractors, they might have decided to release heavily edited parts to jeopardize claims of authenticity in anticipation for the full material to surface at some point. Ego. Ivan might have received a portion of the original footage with the condition to publish it only with an edited form, so that releasing the full material remains a privilege to the actual source. Power. Ivan might enjoy the feeling of being in possession of material other people would die to get a hold of, and created a teaser to feast on the begging for more content. Or ambiguous provenance. Intentional obfuscation as a layer of abstraction and de-watermarking attempt in case of multiple distinct copies circulating among those in the know. In any case, this investigation is mostly focusing on the underlying footage. We claim this separation is justifiable by the quality differential suggesting unrelated sources for footage and effects. Lastly, there are some black frames in the videos that contain a barely visible dot pattern as Red Dwarf B originally discovered. Dots with an RGB value of 020202. These dots might simply be remains of post-processing effects. A fancier alternative would be a watermark of some sort. The pattern is probably too regular for other steganographic purposes. The Tin Bird. Tin Bird is a poetic description of the classical UFO looking like a metallic saucer we see in the very first video clip. Contrary to what people think when watching the shaky video for the first time, the UFO is not flying along the trajectory, but actually hovering statically still in the sky. As user Studi discovered, image stabilization reveals this fact. Without context, the hovering object could be an oval, tethered balloon. At first glance, it could also be mistaken for a blimp at a distance. But blimps have fins and various protrusions that we would expect to see at least partially. Furthermore, blimps are typically huge, and the object we see is not much wider than one of the trees it's hovering above. Given the context, the object is an alien spacecraft. If Ivan presented the videos in chronological order, we hypothesize that the UFOs we see in the clips are actually identical. First, it's in the air as shown, in Tin Bird and Flying Twin, and later crashed on the ground in Blue Boys. The topology of the whole can be seen accurately in Blue Boys and allows for a comparison with a few good zoomed-in frames of Flying Twin, revealing obvious similarities and thus supporting this hypothesis. Besides the UFO, the house is also interesting to analyze and could help narrow down the geographic location. We need your help. Do you recognize this particular house or houses of this kind and know where to look for them on a map? Then please contact the admin of SkinnyBob.info. Flying Twin. This time, the UFO was not filmed from the ground, as in Tin Bird, but from the sky, presumably from an airplane or early helicopter. The name Flying Twin is a bit mysterious. It might refer to the situation in the sky where the aircraft is being accompanied by the UFO in close proximity. When pilots report UFO encounters, they often claim the UFO was mirroring their movements while maintaining a constant distance. Such maneuvering might have led to the title. Maybe there were two UFOs flying in formation, also something commonly observed in alleged UFO sightings. DedBird presented other possibilities in an excellent article, such as peculiar airplane the Germans developed called the Heinkel HE-1117, nicknamed Zwilling, meaning twin. User It's the BS pointed out that the United States Air Force used Beechcraft Model 18 planes nicknamed Twin Beech, and specifically the F-2 model was used for photographic reconnaissance. In 1942, the first long-distance flight of a Sikorsky XR-4 helicopter took place in the United States. What if this historic flight had attracted someone to something? If Flying Twin was actually filmed from a helicopter, it was not necessarily during this particular historic flight. For location-finding purposes, however, it might be interesting to follow the route described in the recollection of the pilot. This video shows a shaking camera operator experiences during flight. The validity of the helicopter theory depends on how high and fast, or rather slow, the aircraft was flying while filming the UFO. At least the camera reconstruction properties suggest a height and speed incompatible with an early helicopter. User DedBird noticed that at no point airplane wings are visible, but similar aerial recordings taken from the plane shows that this argument is probably moot. The two Flying Twin scenes show the same landscape and reveal a more detailed version of the UFO we presumably see in Twin Bird from beneath. The following image is a stitched panorama of the better Flying Twin frames, showing the area we hope to eventually track down with the help of the internet community. Note the specular reflection on the UFO. Together with shadows cast by objects on the ground, such as the isolated trees and the white little structure at the bottom center, we can infer the position of the sun and estimate cardinal directions. This is important for narrowing down the search space when browsing possible locations. Unfortunately, we don't know if the landscape is on the northern or southern hemisphere of the globe. In case of the former, the presumed bridge is opposite to the sun and could have a northern alignment considering the shadows not being overly long. The second scene contains a few more frames that would extend the panorama even further. But as time has passed and perspective changed, stitching does not work. Blue boys. In this clip, we see alien beings for the first time and the UFO in great detail. The title Blue Boys is another mystery. Assuming a German origin, it could be the translation of Blaujungs, an informal term for Marines of the German Navy as DedBird discovered. Shine Psychological 87 discovered that this moniker is actually referring to Project Blue Book staff. A report by Lauren E. Gross from 1971 sends a NICAP publication on page 5 containing the following paragraph. I duly noted the myriad explanations given out by the Blue Book staff widely referred to as the Little Blue Boy Blues, or the Little Blue Boys, of sightings which they evaluated as mistakenly identified stars, planets, meteors, birds, reflected lights, mirages, marsh gas, or delusions, hoax, publicity stunts, etc. Note that the Project Blue Book was created in 1952, but the materials in Ivan's possession allegedly covers a span from 1942 to 1969. It's possible that the Blue Boys and Blue Boys meeting scenes were recorded after 1952. That a precursory project already had field investigators with this code name, or that Ivan came up with the names independently, not realizing a slight anachronism. Crash Survivor. The first impression of an alien being suffers from bad lighting conditions. Identifying elements in the background is hard due to the bad image quality. One thing we're pretty sure about is there being a tree or larger plant on the right. Another thing is the assumption that the environment we barely see here resembles the one shown in the panorama below. The speculation. The following attempts to extrapolate information from a noisy video yield highly speculative results. Since the next scene shows an apparently crashed UFO in a similar area, one could assume a suspiciously looking thing in the background being this very UFO seen from a different angle, as Jazz-like Squirrel suggested. Possible smoke plumes from the burning wreckage. The problem here is that the possible orientations are ambiguous and change with time. Although the camera is moving and vegetation in the background shifts due to parallax, the region we're trying to reconcile with the UFO shifts rapidly towards the end. A better explanation could be a person sitting on a rocky cliff and moving as the cameraman approaches. The thing sticking out on top could be a rifle or antenna from a military backpack radio. If there's one person on the left, there might as well be one on the right. Silhouette resembling a soldier. User Anon2World and Shine Psychological 87 have originally pointed out that there could be at least one person in the background. The next scene shows what could be the UFO seen in Flying Twin and possibly Twin Bird, this time as burning wreckage on the ground. As if this wasn't enough, there is also an alien body lying nearby. An alternative video stabilization shows how the camera is rotating and capturing the crash scene, moving forward, towards, and around the body. There are clouds of smoke moving from right to left in front of the wreckage. Red Dwarf B had the idea of piecing the camera frames together and assembling a large panoramic view. There is a faint lens flare effect moving across the screen. Note that such flares are generated inside the camera housing and depend on the angle of bright light source, such as the sun is hitting the lens. The clip above has been motion stabilized, resulting in the flares moving pretty much linearly. If the camera was actually shaking, like the original clip suggests, the flares would jump all around the place. So it turns out that this seemingly minor and overlooked effect is proof of artificially introduced camera shake, as a post-processing effect. The original footage should display a much more reasonable and calmed camera handling. The area of beach looks something like marram grass around. Stabilized frame showing the upper part of the UFO reveal that the wreckage is burning, or at least generating smoke plumes, as first suspected and visualized by Red Dwarf B and Studi. When stabilizing the whole scene, certain dark smudges turn out to be additional smoke and shadows casted by the plumes. Around the alien seem to be footprints coming from the direction of the UFO behind, telling the story that the alien climbed out of the wreckage, managed to walk away, but eventually collapsed. DedBird suggested a possible link to the Lonnie Zamora incident, where sketches of the footprints look similar. Contrary to the first impressions, the aliens right there might not be dead. A closer look reveals that it's still moving. A finger on the right hand is likely contracting. The head appears to be rolling slightly to the left before the rotation of the camera accelerates. The left hand appears to be twisting. These movements have first been discovered by Red Dwarf B and were extensively discussed here and here. DedBird further inspected the movements using stabilized video frames. Only in Blue Boys we see a whole alien body with legs and feet. This is helpful for roughly estimating the height of SkinnyBob. We start by creating a coarse digital model of the alien based on the proportions, SkinnyBob standing under the stadiometer, Then, we estimate a camera in some position and align head, torso, and feet with the 2D image. This process involves some guessing, limiting the accuracy of the results. Straightening the rig reveals the full body proportions. User Roars1978 was first to suggest utilizing the lower left leg from this scene to derive proportions. Lining up every extraterrestrial being we see across Ivan's video suggests they are either identical, or at least the same alien race as their proportions match. Artistic completion of the legs based on straightened 3D model. Blue Boys meeting. We are seeing an autopsy being performed on an alien body. Assuming the original tape is longer than the few seconds Ivan provided, there might be more going on that causes the title Blue Boys Meeting to make sense. Applying Red Dwarf B's panorama idea to the first autopsy scene reveals the corpse as a whole. Note that the table in the background and that it is covered with a bright tablecloth. This is notable because film productions featuring and faking alien autopsies note the table in the background and that it is covered with a bright tablecloth. This is notable because film productions featuring and faking alien autopsies often show bare metal tables and trays to support the cold and uneasy atmosphere of medical environments, with prevailing stainless steel interior. Red Dwarf B assembled comparable images of tables and operating rooms from the 1940s, all displaying such cloths. There is a dark spot on the glove the physician is wearing on his left hand. One single frame is focused just right to reveal more details. It could be random stains, or perhaps 2 digits resembling the numbers 98. In case of the latter, the right-handed physician might have scribbled the measurement on his glove. Speculation. The following claims are based on an interpretation of degraded imagery and may be wrong. A major source for the discussion has always been the eyes. Unfortunately, no single frame shows Skinny Bob's face exposed sufficiently to allow for a direct and unambiguous revelation of the eyes, by adjusting contrast and brightness levels as attempted here, 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 and here. For example, the problem is that people suffer from confirmation bias when stepping through the frames and suddenly seeing the noise forming a patch at the location the eyeball is intuitively assumed to be. We claim that the size and location of Skinny Bob's eyes can only be determined indirectly. Gray aliens are typically described as having large, dark, almond-shaped eyes. At a first glance, the beings we see in Ivan's videos conform to this description. The resemblance to classical alien is often a reason people immediately reject the idea of the material being authentic, because what are the odds that extraterrestrial visitors look exactly like pop culture media is depicting them for decades? It turns out that Skinny Bob's eyes may not conform to the stereotype after all. Looking at the frames show that the eyes in the autopsy scenes, we can identify and track the specular highlight of both eyes, indicating that there is a round, reflective surface. Especially the side view suggests that the alien has either large, bulgy, possibly almond-shaped eyes, or is wearing some kind of protective cover. Lots of theories and speculations build on these assumptions, and perhaps people derive them from this particular scene because it looks so obvious. We can claim that there is no such cover and all theories involving them are invalid. Skinny Bob. We've seen aliens in the previous clips already, but not as detailed as in Skinny Bob. This time, the alien is apparently standing in an idle pose indoor and the camera is scanning it from top to bottom. Ivan might have reversed the playback direction for dramatic effect so that the head appears last. One clue is the shaking of the camera, which could have been caused by the operator touching and preparing the camera on a tripod for pivoting. We take the liberty of showing the clip in reverse here, despite having no conclusive evidence that the playback direction has been tampered with. Close inspection of the blinking could further support or refute our suspicion of reversed playback. A shows the original direction from Ivan's clip, and B the reversal. Judging based on human and animal eyelids, the muscle contraction for closing the lid should generally be faster than the relaxation for opening again, which displays the literature on the alien's eye physiology as sparse. The literature on alien eye physiology is sparse, so this is all somewhat speculative. Skinny Bob is wearing a tight-fit jumpsuit of some kind with a crease on the chest. For more convenient analysis, we stitched the video frames together to create a vertical panorama. Mantis Awakening commented that this particular posture is called contrapposto. Comparing the outfit with the one the alien from the Blue Boys wore, the collar style is notably different. As another little detail, there appear to be 3 dots on the alien's right shoulder. According to the mysterious email correspondence from Will, human clothes were provided, and Skinny Bob does not wear the original outfit here. Maybe it was him in Blue Boys where he still wore the original outfit with a wider collar? Second scene shows Skinny Bob from the side as it moves and apparently interacts with something. We think the alien is sitting on a chair. Chair backrest flick from above. It also does not seem to be alone in the room, as Red Dwarf B originally suspected. People trying to evaluate the authenticity of SkinnyBob by close inspection of his movements often claim to clearly see some bad underlying Bezier curves used for digital animation. There are in fact occasions where the head moves in a jerky way. There are several reasons we think this does not necessarily give away CG origin. Other head movements are smooth. From all the non-trivial to implemental details we see in this and other scenes, smoothing out a major head rotation curve would be the least difficult thing to do. Ivan's videos have frame rate issues, both repeated and dropped frames that impair motion. And we don't know how aliens. Red Dwarf B pointed out that SkinnyBob's mouth seems capable of opening and moving. In the Blue Boys meeting that there is likely no such thing as an eye cover in dark area left and right on SkinnyBob's face is not all eye. SkinnyBob being indoor and looking out towards the camera while blinking allows us to make a more detailed claim about the eyes. There's an upper and lower lid that moves to close the eye. Roar's 1978 found a nice example of a Sphinx cat with similar lid movements. Light coming from above illuminates the upper lid as it closes lightly, the area getting progressively brighter as skin tensions further around suggesting not all eye. Upper lid covering and wrapping around eyeball suggesting diameter. Instead of tweaking brightness and contrast levels on a single frame basis following the upper eyelid closing continuously over multiple frames increases confidence significantly. The lid's deformation as it covers the eyeball allows us to roughly estimate its size and location. SkinnyBob might show signs of injury, especially if we hypothesize a temporal connection to the u.f.o crash in Blue Boys. Not knowing how healthy alien skin looks like, we can't be sure if those dark patches are in fact the human equivalent of lesions. Possible bruises or cuts on the forehead. Corresponding darker skin patches under different lighting conditions. The gray aliens depicted in different scenes appear to have individually shaped heads, as Ralph pointed out specifically, with a focus on the bulges forming a crest. Bulges on the top and side of the head. Apparent lack of such bulges on SkinnyBob's head. Ralph further suggested interpretation of the crest as secondary sexual characteristics inspired by such traits found within the animal kingdom on Earth. SkinnyBob appears to have black fingernails. This is a remarkable detail because, as Jazz-like Squirrel pointed out, black fingernails are part of an obscure old u.f.o lore from 1995. Handprint. The third video Ivan uploaded shows a photograph of a handprint in the background. It has 4 long fingers, one of which is an opposable thumb. Given the context, it shows an alien handprint. The visual quality of this picture is pretty good, suggesting that it might not originate from a scanned film frame, or if it does, that the original footage is of high quality. It is also possible additional paperwork was attached to the films, including this photograph. The paper cards police department used to take prints actually show such frame spaces for all sorts of human segments. We assume government agencies order such template papers in bulk form and from a handful of manufacturers. Given the line structure we see next to the alien print, knowing where paper edge is and that the space must be large enough for a handprint to fit, it may be possible to narrow down the country the print was taken in. The hands of SkinnyBob can be seen in several clips, and when we try to straighten the fingers and compare a hand to the print side by side, it looks like a good match. Having an estimation for the lower arm length, thanks to the autopsy scene, we can also estimate the size of the hand from the base of the palm to the tip of the middle finger, 290 millimeters. Alternative explanations for the handprint range from digital creation to animal or human birth defects. The photo being static and Photoshop having reached Creative Suite version 5.5 in 2011, it is absolutely possible for a talented individual to manufacture such a handprint. The only reason this picture is notable is the context of its presentation. Family vacation. This clip, being the only one in color, and therefore presumably from a later production date, features multiple alien beings at once. They are walking alongside a wall and are accompanied by humans. The name Family Vacation could refer to aliens in a sense that they came and visited as a group. Another possibility is a connection to the infamous dentist visit of Dwight D. Eisenhower on his vacation in Palm Springs on February 20th, 1954, when he quote-unquote had to go to the dentist. It is challenging to keep track of how many entities we see in total. There's between 3 and 4. A few frames show the floor, and one frame is focusing on the wall, revealing its structure surface. The wall looks to be made of rough concrete with a vertical stripe pattern. The leaked material allegedly covers a span of 27 years, starting in 1942. It appears to be divided into 7 tapes, and those are again divided into cases. If tape refers to video 8, high 8, or digital 8 cassettes, the tape duration of 180 minutes suggests PAL, which is a European video standard. NTSC cassettes used in the United States have only a capacity of 120 minutes. If tape refers to VHS or Betamax, we cannot make any assumptions because of the wide range of tape lengths across all standards. A total duration of 1,260 minutes means the capacity of all 7 tapes, with 180 minutes each, would be completely exhausted. That seems unlikely. Maybe it is meant in a different way, but Ivan specifically wrote recorded duration. Will, from Planet Under Attack, claims to have contacted Ivan, or at least someone affiliated with the videos via email on June 17, 2014, and he received a response 2 days later. Secondly, do you happen to know who the copyright holder is for the SkinnyBob footage? I'm also wondering who is the original leaker of the footage. Somebody told me this footage originally came out through you. Any info would be great. Regardless, thanks again, my friend, Will. And he responded. We were sent that footage to release from a source, the same source that sent us Redacted. I know it's the original source because the original version is not available to anyone. That's why you won't find it anywhere on the internet. We released the footage using several SOC channels on YouTube and other sites. We did it this way to make sure the info got out even if our channel, website, etc. was terminated. Redacted granted copyright as long as we did not profit by it or release the full unedited version as a complete film. Only short clips were released, not the full 12 minutes of footage. For example, the clip where the alien is sitting down is cropped. The full scene shows him sitting at a table, looking through what looks like star maps. Government officials are also seen at the opposite side of the table in close of the time. The clothes he's wearing are explained at the beginning of the footage too. The full footage shows original clothing. The jumper and trousers are not the original clothes. Original clothes were taken for analysis. Human clothes were provided. Aliens can be seen wearing a dull silver-type ski suit with a utility belt and dull silver footwear. I'm hoping the source will allow us to release the full unedited footage at some point, but I cannot release without permission. In this game, mutual trust is everything. Hope this helps and you're welcome. This is purely anecdotal and unverifiable. We still decided to include this email exchange because, at least to our knowledge, it is the only documented communication with someone allegedly affiliated with the source. It also mentions details partly new and partly suspected or confirmed by careful analysis. Jazz Like Squirrel pointed out that the claim about SOC channels could never be confirmed. The first video was mentioned nowhere else until about 2 weeks later. when the second one finally gained traction. The early uploads to other channels were partly of lower bitrate and without sound, possibly due to ripping, re-encoding, and re-uploading them from the Ivan 0135 channel. The person replying claims the original footage is 12 minutes long. In previous descriptions, a total recording duration of 1,260 minutes is mentioned, and most of the timestamps exceed 12 minutes. This is a significant discrepancy. The timestamps being suspiciously and overly specific, just like the document's designations in the family vacation description, make us consider all timing information to be completely made up. A few years before Ivan uploaded his videos, the channel Strange Videos published photos depicting a frozen alien corpse being handled by civilians that allegedly discovered it in Rivière Rouge, Canada in 1992. The physiology of the alien's head is similar to SkinnyBob's. Note that the Rivière Rouge case has not been debunked so far and could actually show an extraterrestrial being, similar to Ivan's material. The initial publication of this photo was not accompanied by a media circus, as user DataPure pointed out. One could argue that this fact speaks for its authenticity. The leak theory. Parts of the footage show a professional environment, autopsy room, examination room with stadiometer, aircraft, suggesting that it's not a collection of amateur home video clips, but rather a documentation produced by government agency or branch of the military or corporation. It could have found its way on the internet by a whistleblower with legitimate access leaking it. In this case, cropping and obscuring the origin might have been done to deflect heat, prevent people from pinning down the actual source and causing a stir. Alternatively, it could have been stolen and leaked by the thief. In this case, blackmail is a reason to consider for all the editing, signaling the extent of the leak to the original source without revealing it. The thief might have made demands, wanted to show off his achievements, or needed an insurance. DataPure pointed out the suspicious coincidence that Ivan posted the first video 1 month after a foreign adversary launched a cyber attack on the Pentagon and stole sensitive data. The RSA breach also happened around that time. If the videos were among the files stolen, it is conceivable the Pentagon itself released the edited clips in order to control the damage and narrative. The intention might be that in case the original footage surfaces, a previous publication in a lame wrapping inflicts enough damage to the credibility that further releases have little impact. The hoax theory. If the material was faked, the general consensus is that multiple people, multiple techniques, and possibly, but not necessarily, a lot of money was involved. It is unlikely for a single person pulling this off due to the complexity and variety of the scenes, Claims frequently made by individuals about this clips being easy to produce remain to be demonstrated. We disagree, but encourage people that have the time, skill, and motivation to give it a try. Submit the result. Just don't forget of the 71% of content besides the Skinny Bob close-ups.
The next steps are relying on crowd intelligence to eventually find the location Flying Twin or even DedBird was filmed at, allowing further research on site and narrowing down the year of production, discovering related materials in old UFO media collections, thereby proving a pre-2011 production and significantly decreasing the likelihood for CG being involved. Social media coverage, causing people having more information or additional footage to come forward. Social media coverage, causing people involved in hoaxing the material to come forward. Finding a catastrophic blooper in the material that reveals it being a hoax. Rogue YouTube employees or people with access to big data being able to search for related, possibly uncropped videos by content fingerprinting, offering a cash reward for additional footage or substantial background information. Red Dwarf B is currently offering 5,000 to 30,000, see his terms and conditions for details, or waiting for Ivan to upload more videos. The chance for progress is proportional to the amount of people getting exposed to this investigation. You can help by sharing this website on social media and ask people you suspect knowing answers to our open questions to have a look. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time. If this grabbed your attention like it did mine, then head over to their website, SkinnyBob.info, to really look at all the interesting, deep, in-depth footage and examination that I glossed over. From the angle and speed the vehicle that recorded the DedBird was going, to cryptic alphabets, and even trying to identify the exact measuring tool used to measure these sumbitches. These people have done a tremendous amount of work, and I'm sure they'd love your support. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, and dare I say even subscribing so that I get to keep doing this. Take care.